Welcome. We have a Bitcoin new moon happening on the 24th, coming up very soon. But none of this is financial or investment advice. If you're new here, I'm Jack, and I'm an engineer gone crypto astrologer. On this channel, I combine technical analysis with astrology. Ignore the spam in the comments below. Let's take a look at the charts. Okay, so we have Bitcoin here on the daily, and obviously we're doing what we've done before. We are heading up to a range, and we're just kind of trading sideways, just like we did back here. Heading into this range, we're trading sideways, just what we did back here as well. So nothing new in the cryptoverse, other than this exciting price action here, where the Bitcoin dominance has been falling for 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks in a row. Man, just as, I mean, and I remember people were saying right around here that, we're never going to see an altcoin run for the rest of the year, or maybe ever again, which is typical. People literally tend to lose all hope when right before we get a major shift in crypto. One really interesting thing with the Bitcoin dominance is that we got this massive dump here. Let's see what percentage this was here. Just in 1 week, we got a 6% dump on the Bitcoin dominance. That is significant. And I want to compare. I don't think we haven't gotten a dump that big, I don't think, ever in this bull run. If we look at the previous bull run, let's see if we got something around 6%. Let me clean this up a little bit. And let's see, how much was this one right here? This candle was about 6%. So we're seeing a very similar potential candle that we did back in January 2021, which was arguably the start of the major altcoin run. And what happened after that? We got pretty long sideways consolidation on the Bitcoin dominance. Now, Bitcoin was still going up and altcoins were still going up, but altcoins were not necessarily outperforming Bitcoin for a few weeks, maybe, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, about 6 weeks. So it's not guaranteed, but we could have something in the cards like this, maybe for the next 6 weeks. Certainly possible. I wouldn't count that out. So that's interesting. And then take a look at what happened after that. Boom! We got one of the biggest altcoin runs in history. That was like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 weeks of just full on bull run, blow off top, banana zone, parabolic moves for altcoins. So that could be coming around the corner, but either it's going to happen soon or we might have to wait 6 more weeks. It's certainly possible. I would not be upset about that. One of the most important parts in this game is patience and make sure that we can stick it out through the thick and thin. So I'm just hodling. I'm just holding here. And I also want to look at the total too on the 2-week scale. So this is all the crypto minus Bitcoin. And man, this is looking pretty good. The fact that we got this massive candle here, I mean, this is impressive. We went up, oh my gosh, 35% green candle. That is phenomenal. We just got a 35% green candle on the 2-week scale. Wow, that is impressive. And the really good news is if you take a Fibonacci from the peak, December 2nd peak down to this trough here, you look at the Fibonacci lines, we have the 0.618, 0.702, 0.786, which typically there's a lot of resistance at those levels. We got through all of those levels in one candle here. We got through the 50%, the 0.618, the 0.702, and the 0.786, and we closed above the 0.786, which is extremely bullish. So man, that looks really good. So unless that's a fake out, that's looking extremely bullish. really for the altcoins, everything excluding Bitcoin. And of course, Bitcoin's still doing quite well, so I would not be against Bitcoin. And in this area, we certainly could see more sideways action here. I would not count that out. I mean, if we look historically, we've had this happen many times before. You know, ever since the May 22nd peak, you know, we traded sideways for 47 days. We take the December peak, we traded sideways for 66 days. And of course, last year we had one of the longest painful sideways trading time for ever since the March peak of last year. That took about 235 days. And I'm not saying that's going to happen again, but I mean, especially since if we're heading towards the market peak, typically we can get, you know, big moves up, but also usually the sideways trading lasts a little bit less. We can definitely get dumps. I'm not saying that's going to happen exactly right there as I drew it, but we can get big dumps and big pumps and then big dumps. Basically increased major volatility. The closer we get to the peak, we get bigger dumps, or bigger pumps and bigger dumps. And it can happen fast. So we probably aren't going to be waiting for months and months and months. Could happen quickly. And I mean, we're seeing Ethereum breakout. That's looking extremely bullish. Wow. And we're also now seeing recently, Solana is showing a lot of strength. We zoom in here. And if we take a Fibonacci from the peak here to the low in April, Solana just surpassed the 50% level, which is really very nice. And I guess we have another week to see if we can close the week above this green line. The 50% level is at 195. The fact that we're above that is really good for Solana, and that could be really good for altcoins. And of course, XRP is continuing to break out. Very exciting. So things are looking very good here. We'll take a peek at the USDT dominance. And I want to use this special fancy indicators here to show what liquidity gaps there could be. Oh, interesting. At least on the weekly scale. This is showing where these little horizontal lines are showing where there's liquidity gaps. We actually already closed that gap there at 4.13%. Let's look on the daily scale. Okay. That's interesting. It's pretty much closing this gap, which is actually a little bit concerning, because if we close that gap already, especially on the weekly scale, you look at that horizontal blue line there. If we close that gap, I'm talking about this right here, there's a chance that we could be heading back up to close these gaps here, these red lines, horizontal lines. So that's actually a slight concern that USDT dominance, it's possible, could have a rebound, which would potentially bring a correction to altcoins, especially crypto overall. Slight concern there. And if we look at the Bitcoin dominance, looks like the Bitcoin dominance, the liquidity gap, this blue horizontal line here, it could continue down further. Because if we look at previous times, we come down to arguably fill these liquidity gaps here, which we did back in November. And so it's not guaranteed, but it just gives a little probability that Well, this could actually have further down to go to close this liquidity gap here. So that would be good. So tricky here. But yeah, there definitely could be a little bit more correction in crypto. That would be a healthy correction, particularly for Bitcoin. Let me clean this up. Oh, actually, yeah, Bitcoin has some liquidity gaps there. And so it would be possible if Bitcoin, even if Bitcoin has a wick down to 112, is totally possible. And that could actually scare some investors out, which is what market makers tend to do. And we still have not gotten extreme greed, which means we likely in the longer run have further to go to the upside. But we also haven't seen fear in a long time. So we could see a correction to bring in more fear to the market. That would be healthy. That would be healthy fear. If we look at the 24-hour liquidations, if you look on the top right here, it's actually 51% of people are shorting the market. So more people are shorting than longing, which in the short run could mean that we're going up. And that is what's happening right here, is we're going up right now. But that's just in the short term, the very short term. Okay, let's go back to our Bitcoin presentation. And the July general astrology. July 21st, we have Mars conjunct South Node, which is slightly bearish. But July 22nd, we have the Sun sextile Uranus, which could be positive for crypto, as Uranus is the planet of technology, which includes crypto. July 23rd, we have Venus squaring Mars, slight negative. July 24th, on the new moon, we have the Sun trining Saturn and Neptune, which is positive. And July 25th, we have the Sun opposing Pluto, which could bring more volatility. So do not count out any more corrections. I don't think it's going to be a huge, massive correction. But yeah, we could definitely have some more small corrections. The new moon is opposing the Bitcoin Mercury. So that could bring a small correction, I think. I would not count that out. And the new moons potentially can bring volatility. We can sometimes get a dump after the new moon. It's certainly possible. Also on July 24th, this new moon, we have the node on the Bitcoin Uranus Saturn opposition. This can bring significant shifts in the fate of Bitcoin. So difficult to predict, but yeah, just more volatility. Mars is conjuncting the Bitcoin Saturn, slight negative. Uranus is squaring the Bitcoin Venus. Saturn is squaring the Bitcoin Pluto. So all of these can bring a little bit of challenge and volatility. But we also have Venus trining the Bitcoin Neptune, which can bring some euphoria. We have Pluto conjunct the Bitcoin Mercury, brings more explosive moves, and Neptune sextiling the Bitcoin Mercury, which can bring more euphoria. So we got a lot of volatility, but mostly there's a little bit of challenging energy on this new moon coming up here. So I would not count out a correction, but I don't think it's going to be a huge correction. Probably a bit of a minor one. We also have Mercury retrograde extended in Leo. So I could show a little bit of overview. We look at the outside planets here. So Mercury right here, the planet of communication and sometimes technology and the way we communicate with technology. So there can be a lot of technology problems, a lot of communication problems. I'm dealing with some communication issues right now with someone I'm going on a retreat with. I'm going up to Mount Shasta today. I'm not getting a response, but hopefully she will respond soon. So these are typical things that happen in Mercury retrograde. The interesting thing is that Mercury is in Leo, and if we go backwards, keep your eyes on this planet Mercury. Mercury has been in the sign of Leo ever since June 27th, and then it's going, as we go forward, it's going to retrograde back, but it's going to stay in the sign of Leo the whole time, and it's not going to come out of the sign of Leo. It's not going to ingress into Virgo until September 2nd. That's a very long time. So I did a deep analysis of Mercury retrogrades. I marked the Mercury retrograde with this yellow line, vertical line, but then I made this box that displays how long Mercury's in Leo for this entire time span that it's in this box. And one interesting thing is that Bitcoin already started breaking out as Mercury ingressed into Leo, and it continues to break out. So I looked at any previous times in history we had Mercury extended in the same zodiac sign through a very long Mercury retrograde. And we had a similar price action here where Mercury went into the zodiac sign and then we started getting a major breakout. This major breakout did not stop until we were almost all the way, until Mercury was almost all the way through into the next zodiac sign. And so we got Mercury retrograde. We got a little dump back in November, but we continued up. So there is a possibility. I'm thinking we could see something kind of similar to this as we're seeing very similar price action. We're getting a breakout right when Mercury entered Leo. We're continuing up. There's a chance we could continue up a bit more, maybe a couple more weeks before a correction, or it could actually extend out even further. I think there were times in history where we saw that. I can go, if we go way back. This is actually the total market cap. This isn't just Bitcoin. But an example is here where we were pumping. I mean, it did get a big correction. This was all the way back in 2021. But it actually, the markets continued up all the way until even after Mercury went into the next sign. But anyways, it's overall, this looks very, very quite bullish. The fact that, comparing these times in history, when Mercury is, or when crypto is getting a breakout in the early phases, when Mercury just ingresses into that new sign, when it's extended in that sign for a very long time, it can be very bullish. So just a really interesting analysis there. And I did much deeper dive on this analysis in my private Crypto Astro Mastermind. So you can click the link below to get access to that. We have 2 more spots this month. And okay, let's go back to here. Once again, July overall is a historically very bullish month for Bitcoin and crypto, and we're getting a very bullish month. We've already gone up about 10%, I believe, in the month of July. So we might finish the month around these levels, maybe around 119, 118, 120. Even if we finish the month at like 117, it's still quite bullish. Definitely subscribe if you haven't already to receive more epic updates. And the Crypto Astro Mastermind, click the link below to check that out. We have the coupon code available for the next, I don't know how long. There's only 2 more spots. So you can go to the checkout page, type in the coupon code. If the coupon code works, you get a discount. But if the coupon code does not work, that means the spots have already been taken for this month. So definitely take action on that and grab your spot before someone else does. All right, share this video with a friend so that they can benefit as well. And I'll see you on the next video. Thanks, everybody. Talk soon.